What does the term struggling reader mean? That's what we're talking about right now. Hey everybody, I'm Lee Hall from Literacy Teachers, where we inspire, motivate, and change how your students read and write for academic success. This is a series on struggling readers so that you can get to know that term and how to work with them a little more deeply. And to kick this series off, we're going to talk about what the term struggling readers means. So let's dive into it. All right, so what do we mean when we're using this term struggling reader? Well, this right here is a very common term that you will see in terms of how students get identified as such. Struggling readers are students who read 2 or more years below grade level, but do not have an identified learning disability, okay? So we are really uncertain, right, as to why it is that they are having these reading difficulties, but nevertheless they do, and they often have regular persistent difficulties comprehending text, all right? Now, some common understandings about struggling readers, and I'm going to give you an overview here in this video, and then in subsequent videos, we're going to be diving into these understandings and taking them apart a little bit. But they're often perceived as lacking motivation, right? Like, I'm trying to get them to read, I'm teaching them the things they need to learn so they can improve, they're not doing anything, right? So on the surface, it looks like that they lack motivation. It also can look like they have a general unwillingness to improve, right? So if you are busting your butt, getting them all kinds of engaging text to read and personalized instruction and all the things that you do, and they're not doing anything, then it just seems like they don't care, all right? Now, I'm not saying that's the case, and actually I'm going to show you that's kind of the opposite, but on the surface, it's really easy to come to these conclusions. And then finally, we can also say some of the common understandings about them is that they don't really do any work to change their situation. They're not trying to make anything better. And so when you look at and when you work with struggling readers, these assumptions or understandings about them are really easy to arrive at, and they make a lot of sense because on the surface, this is exactly the kind of thing that you are most likely seeing. But that's not really the whole picture. That's just surface level. And as I said, in this series, we're going to be diving into this and giving you a broader perspective of what's really going on with struggling readers and these common assumptions and understandings that often get placed on them, right? So there's going to be a lot more coming your way. Struggling readers are so much more than how they often get understood. And we're going to dive into that. I'm going to share some things with you about the many factors that contribute to how students have reading difficulties. I'm going to share with you what struggling readers have told me about their experiences. It's going to end up giving you this nice, broad, deep understanding about who these students are and what we can do to really help them.